Good morning. This is Esther Lawson with God's Grace Garden, and today we have our compost tea here. It's been brewing for about 2 days now. So we're going to put this on the garden, and if you look there closely, it's nice and bubbly. So it's nice and aerated. I have different things in there from composted cow manure, alfalfa meal, coffee grains. I have green sand, and I have unsulfured molasses as well in there. So that's been brewing for about 2 days, and we're going to put it on the garden, and we're going to mix it with this water that I have here that's been sitting out overnight for 24 hours. So well, it's been here for about 24 hours overnight as well. But we're going to mix this with the compost tea. So we'll see you in the garden in a bit. Okay, we're back here, and we're at the right side of the mini garden that we have here, along with the main mini garden. And I wanted to let you know that we have a lot of Mary morning glories that are coming out, and they're violet. Aren't they pretty? Look at those. Beautiful. So the morning glories are flowering nicely. We have an abundance of flowers growing on these in these just 2 tire containers. So I planted some over there and over here. And these are green beans that are growing mixed with Swiss chard Bright Light. And I'm excited about this one. It's nice and pretty if you'll take a look at that. I planted it yesterday, transplanted it into the garden yesterday, and it's setting in nicely. I put just a little bit of the compost tea on it that was at 24 hours. I put some on it yesterday so that the transplant shock wouldn't take to it. So it's looking like it's coming in nicely in there. It's gonna set root good. So these are also heavyweight green beans, and they've been growing nicely too. These 3 containers are growing. The soil is really good, and I put some seeds in there a few days ago, and I haven't even written down on my chart exactly what I planted there, but it's already rooting up. It wasn't supposed to come up for about 5 to 7 days, but in 2 days it's already coming up, and it doesn't get much sunlight, but there it is. It's germinated. So I forgot what it was, so we'll just be surprised when it comes in. How about that? What I plan to do here is I had this leftover water hose container thing that I'm not using, so I'm going to let the morning glories wrap around it and provide me a little chair to sit in whenever I'm just here in the garden and I just want to look at things. So that's going to be pretty nice. I might decorate it over here in the weeks to come whenever I have more time. It keeps you busy, this garden, but I love doing it, so I'm not going to complain. There we go. So let's take a look at the main mini garden. The jalapeno peppers seem to be starting to flower on this little pot that I have here. And I put a tomato in there with it, as well as some other things that I forgot to write down. I think it may be broccoli, but we'll see once it comes in. Looks like it's coming up too here, right there. Put those seeds in about 2 days ago. Yeah, it was broccoli. I definitely put broccoli in this one because I left it here. But it seems like there's one seedling that's germinated. So one thing that I'm concerned about is this cayenne pepper. 2 of these, they seem to be not looking so well. You know, the flowers, they're opening up, but they've fallen off. So I've put some compost tea on them again and I'm gonna see what happens. It may have something to do with the lighting, but we'll see. But the basil that I planted about maybe a week ago that I got from the fresh market is looking nice. So I might cut some of it down again to keep it growing. The geraniums, they're growing. Look at there, they're looking nicely. I planted the rosemary here that I got from the fresh market about 2 weeks ago, and it's setting in nicely too, and I'm waiting for some seedlings to come through that I planted in here. I forgot what they were. I'll be surprised. Some lettuce. I know that I planted lettuce here because I left the package. And this is going to be Butter Crunch lettuce growing in here with some collards, Georgia collard greens that seems to be eaten by some slugs or something. So we're going to try to get that under control. But the cucumbers are growing in nicely. So I have some cucumbers growing. There's another one growing over there. So it's about 3 of them growing right now. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these off so that the other ones that I'm having that's already been pollinated, they can grow a little bit better too. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have here the 2 cucumbers that I just cut off the vine and cucumber limb that I have growing up the trellis here, that's grown all the way around and it's coming around to the front. It's gone around to the back there. And I have morning glories also flowering around here. But I'm going to go ahead and take these off so that the other cucumbers that are on here can grow better and bigger as well. So, and to produce even more to grow. So I also have my pole beans here. You see them? Look at there. They're coming in. All kind of flowers are growing on here. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like some type of droplings, but I'm going to knock that off and maybe put it in the soil. And there goes some more green beans growing. And I put some more bright light Swiss chard in there. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to see how that grows in there. I think it's going to grow in there nicely. It's setting in. All of the Swiss chards up here seem to be setting in nice. And here's some more green beans and morning glories that are growing. I'm going to cut some of these limbs off that are yellowing and eaten up. But the squash, I've already harvested 2 off of this one. So we're waiting, and here are new flowers and stuff about to come in. So it's going to be getting more squash on there. They got the female flowers on there first. So maybe this was a hybrid version. But as you see, the leaves had been yellowing. I put some Epsom salt on it to see if that would help, and it did help. You see the new growth that's coming in is nice and green. It's not blotted yellow, so that's taken care of, the magnesium deficiency. And there goes some more flowers from the morning glories that's vined over here. So I have stuff just vining all over the place. Pole beans, cucumbers, morning glories, and now I have Georgia collards, lettuce, rosemary, basil and cayenne peppers, jalapeno peppers, and bright light Swiss chard, and soon to be broccoli growing in just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 containers, tires that I've created in this mini garden. This was the first mini garden that I created, and then it turned into a second one, and now we even have a third one, and we'll go take a look at it in 1 minute. Alright, the third mini garden that I have here, I have it in front of the brighter side of the main garden. It gets more sunlight than this side of the garden. But that's okay because I'm transitioning things, and now I know better, and I know how to plant things according to the sunlight. So that kind of works in my benefit. If I need things that don't need much sunlight, I can just put it on this side of the garden and vice versa. So let's go ahead and take a look at the third mini garden. Now, what I have here is some fabric that I ordered online, and all this is you know how you have the material underneath wedding gowns and stuff? This is that material, and it's able to still get sunlight through the material, plus I even watered it through the material. And this material is helping keep slugs and all kind of other insects out that I don't need in there. Because when I first put the first, I think it was 4 tires down, I left it out overnight, and slugs had gotten in there and eaten up the cabbage that I had planted. So since then, I've bought this material, and I didn't know why I would really need it, but I got it anyhow because I thought it was pretty neat. I could use it one day, and I did. So I'm going to go ahead and take the material off so we can take a closer look at the vegetables. Okay, what I have here is one of the first tires that I placed in here, and I didn't put any cover on it, and the next night I came out, slugs had eaten the cabbage up. So since then I learned a lesson, and the other cabbages that I've placed in here later, yesterday in fact, they've already set in nicely. They look like they're making this a nice home, and they seem comfortable in here. But nothing has touched any of the Swiss chard, bright lights, or the stonehead cabbage that I placed in here. Now that cabbage that I looked at previously, that's not stonehead cabbage. That's early flat Dutch cabbage. So we'll take a look at that again so we can tell the difference in the leaves when they were placed the first time being covered and when they were placed and not covered in just one day, how much the slugs had eaten of them. So these are more bright lights with cabbage growing in there, and all I did was got a shovel, dug a hole in the ground, used that soil and mixed it up with my own personal homemade potting soil, organic, with different materials such as green sand. I placed coffee grounds, alfalfa meal in there, and also composted manure in there, some black cow, and I just let it go. So since then, that's what it's looked like in one day. This one here is standing up nicely. Same thing, cabbage and Swiss chard. I placed some beans in one of these. I forgot which one with those Swiss chard, but we'll see when it comes in. But here's another tire that I placed the first day, and look at that Georgia collard green that's been eaten up a little bit. Not too badly, but it's okay. And I do have some fungi growing in here. You can see that there, look at there. So I made this soil environment, and there goes some seeds that I placed that are coming up. And I just placed these seeds in here 2 days ago. I just put these tires down 2 days, and they're already germinating. So I think putting this cover over it creates sort of like a little greenhouse for them. So I'm going to leave it on there all day. It gets enough sunlight, and it keeps the bugs that I don't want in it away. So check that out. Moving on to the main garden, we've made a lot of changes. So let's take a look. Alright, this is the left side of the main garden that doesn't receive as much sunlight because of all of these trees that are here. Even though we have the sun just right there. Maybe one day we'll get that cut down. But anyhow, that's a lesson to learn. Try to keep away from big trees whenever you're planting your garden. But I'm trying to make best do with what I have. But anyways, I uprooted a lot of stuff so I can transition it for the fall. And I may in fact remove this okra that's not doing well because it needs a lot of heat and it doesn't receive as much sunlight as the okra on the right side of the garden that we'll take a look here in a minute. So is this squash that was doing pretty well a few days ago, and I took the vegetables off that were growing, and I'm just waiting for flowers to come on them again and really get some more leaves growing because I had to cut some off because they had been eaten by slugs. But that's the tomato that I have growing in a topsy-turvy, whatever it is. I put one at the top and one at the bottom. And I also put some fungi in there to encourage strong root growth. So that's why they're growing so well, even though it doesn't receive as much sunlight as the other tomatoes over on the right side. But I put some more green beans in here. And my goal is to get all of these weeds, in fact, out of here that I thought was a plant growing. Silly me. Yeah, it happens, but you live and you learn. It was kind of discouraging, but that's my horror story. I had weeds growing that I thought was in fact parsley, but it had sucked all the nutrients out of the left side of the garden, so things weren't growing well over here, and I didn't understand why. So that's why. If you didn't plant it and you can't identify it, it's a weed. So get rid of it. Alright, and that's what I have here. I planted some cabbage in here. And we're just going to wait for those to germinate and come up soon. And I snuck a bright light Swiss chard right there. And I'm happy to see that the pole beans have turned around back here. And they're trellising up. And this is solely because I use my own home-made compost from leaves, grass clippings, and water, and things like that, and just turning it on a daily basis or every few days, and compost tea. So now I have pole beans, and now over on this side I have Kentucky Wonders growing up this little thing that I have that I'm going to connect over to this trellis once it gets there. So these are Kentucky Wonders growing. And I snuck another bright light Swiss chard on the end here, if you can see that. So that's the left side of the mini garden in a nutshell. I also have another Swiss chard in there too. So I'm just going to keep interplanting in this garden. I like doing that. It's fun. It makes the garden look pretty, I think. So let's take a look at the right side of the garden. Okay, this is the right side of the garden, and I have some cabbage here that hasn't been covered at all, and it's been receiving way too much sunlight, so it's still hanging in there. I'm going to let it just go. I have some green beans, and I need to go through and pick out all of these weeds. I do have a strawberry growing in here, which is a no-no, but it's been there for a long time. I'm going to let it stay and keep going. It had almost died, but the compost tea has brought it back. So that's the strawberry, along with some weeds growing around it. I need to get out of there. And here's another strawberry that had almost died. Now it has runners growing around it too. So I'm going to keep letting it go as well. And green beans here. And I planted some seedlings a few days, and they're coming through. I planted them straight into the ground. I didn't want to do all that waiting. And I don't know what's going on. The same thing happened in the center of the garden. It looks like a cucumber. I didn't plant it there, but it looks like a cucumber, a vine and cucumber seed has grown here. And come to find out, the people that lived in this house before we moved in here, like my mom bought this house, they in fact had a garden, and they had it in the same place, the same location. So, wow, that may be the explanation for weird stuff just popping up around here. I don't know. But I don't understand how a cucumber just came here out of nowhere. But there it goes. It's growing. A vine and cucumber. I think that's exactly what the other one looked like when it grew over there. We'll take a look at it. It's doing okay, but it's been a lot of rain and slow growing season, but it's hanging in there for what it's worth. This right here is the okra that's flowering. Look at there, isn't it nice and pretty? And I have some okra growing too. They're all flowering throughout the garden, and okra. So I've cut off some of them before they actually matured to encourage more growth, and that's what's happening. There's one okra. It's about maybe 1.5 inches long. I'm going to cut it off so that it can keep producing even more flowers. So this right here is the front of the right side of the garden. We're going to look at the back of the garden of the right side. Alright, these are the purple hull peas. And what I did was tilted this trellis forward and added like a little support right here. And it's kind of in the walkway, but it's not much of a walkway because of all the water here. But it's okay. But what it's doing, instead of growing up and up, they're leaning forward and growing down and hanging down. So now I'll be able to reach them. And I have some okra growing within here, and it's getting flowers about to start blooming on it. So this is the back end of the garden. Right here. Here are some sweet potatoes that are still growing. Some more sweet potatoes. And I have some corn with some pole beans growing over here that I just did sort of like an experiment with. Oh, looks like some corn is about to start growing. Alright. And tomatoes here. I got a late planting season. Look at this. You gotta watch this stuff, because look how far this sweet potato vine has gone. I'm gonna have to start doing a lot of work in the garden because everything's growing so much. You have to make sure it's not growing all over the place. So these are the tomatoes, and I've planted them deeper and deeper. I've added more fungi to the soil and root systems. And this garlic chive here, even though I cut it 2-3 days ago, it's already grown about 1 inch or 2. So it's nice and good too. It's really nice on baked potatoes. So I'm gonna put some more dirt in here. I'm gonna let these tomatoes keep growing. I don't have any flowers on them, but maybe they might get something on them late fall, depending on how cold it is. So these are the okra plants from behind, and they are taller than me now. Some of them are taller than me, some of them are eye level with me, but they're continuing to grow. Even though we haven't had a very hot summer, they're still thriving, and I think they'll continue to grow. This here is the center of the garden, where I have purple hull peas growing, along with some pole beans in there growing. I removed all the corn out of there, and since I have, it seems like everything's starting to, you know, not fight so much for nutrients and stuff anymore. So I've given them more room to grow, and I've added some lettuce in here, along with some other things that I forgot to write down, but as soon as they germinate, I'll find out. So this is the cucumber that I have growing that I didn't plant. It just came out of nowhere. Let's go in here and take a look at it. So I pulled a cucumber off of it yesterday, and it seems to be growing even more cucumbers. 1, 2, and another one just opened up 3. It had stopped growing for a little while because it got real wet down here, so it's starting to pick back up with growing new leaves, and there's a 4th cucumber flower that's coming in. So that's the cucumber that's growing inside the garden, the vine and cucumber. Not growing as good as the one in the mini garden, but it's doing something. That's the okra that I snuck in here. It's growing. I have some peas that are growing with some Swiss chard over here in the corner. So that seems to be everything in the garden, God's Grace Garden. So I'm signing off. And once I put this compost tea on, today in fact is August the 31st. I forgot to let you know that in the beginning. It's about to be Labor Day, and we're going into the fall season, so this is my first fall season, so I'm excited about it, and I look forward to giving you more updates. In fact, I'll be putting a compost tea on today, and then today is in fact Saturday, so I'll give it 5 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Thursday, we'll do another update. This is Esther Lawson signing off with God's Grace Garden. Have a blessed day.